start on the AFC side here. Patriots, Broncos. The Patriots, depending on what line you're getting, it sounds like some money may be coming in on Denver. I got it at 5.5. Sounds like it could be coming down to 4.5. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I think everybody has come out and said, "Oh my God, the Patriots had the easiest road for the AFC playoffs. They had to face the Chargers with no offensive line. They had to play the Texans without Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz gets hurt early, and now they're going to play the Broncos without Bo Nix." I don't say this to offend Bo Nix because I just praised him. But I think there's a world out there where there's not that big of a drop off between Bo Nix and Jared Stidham. And I think Sean Payton is going to use all this noise around the Broncos can't win without Jared Stidham as bulletin board material this week. I think Sean's going to scheme things up early. I think he's going to get some easy completions. I think they're going to get Jared Stidham going early in this game. I do not think this is a blowout. I am picking New England to win the game. But I will not be shocked if by 6:30 Sunday night, the Denver Broncos, are representing the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Let me ask you a question that you should be very familiar with as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Don't the Patriots have experience going against a backup quarterback?
They do, and I've seen a lot of people compare these situations. To me, the difference is Nick Foles played, what was it, the final 2-3 games in the regular season, as well as a playoff game before the NFC Championship. Whereas with Jared Stidham, this is like his first live snaps, I believe, in 3 years.
Right. So, no, I'm not trying to compare the situations. I just felt like it was an appropriate question to ask. But
but that was also a different regime.
That part is true, yes. But think about this. When Jared Stidham was the Raiders quarterback back in 2023, he played well against the San Francisco 49ers, who would go on to play in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs that season. Josh McDaniels was I believe, the head coach for the Raiders. And when Stidham was a free agent, Sean Payton wanted him in Denver.
Oh, that's the first thing Sean Payton did, even before they had Russell Wilson. The first move he ever made when he got to Denver was sign Jared Stidham.
Exactly my point. So, everybody writing off the Broncos because, oh no, they have to go to Jared Stidham and he only has a week. I'm not writing off the Denver Broncos. And think about this. Do you know this is part 3 in their trilogy for the Broncos and Patriots?
Well, I know what part 2 was. What was part 1?
The 2013 AFC Championship.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Thank you.
And ironically, all 3 games have been in Denver. Of course, the first 2 were Manning against Brady. Denver won both games. So do I think that's going to play a factor into this game? No, because Brady and Manning are not involved. But I do think that's a little bit of a storyline that nobody's really talking about. Granted, again, nobody from either of those teams is on the current teams. I get it. But still, the fact that Denver is up 2-0, I think plays into it.
This game comes down to one thing. It's not about the quarterbacks. It's not about the receivers. It's not about the defensive backs. It's not about the running backs. It's not the linebackers. It comes down to one matchup. It comes down to the Patriots offensive line versus the Denver defensive line and vice versa. I think New England's offensive line has lucked out. Let's be honest. I know Dan Orlowski said he apologized to CJ Stroud when he said 31 other quarterbacks going to beat New England on Sunday. Dan, you didn't have to apologize. You're right on that statement because If the Texans just don't turn the ball over 2 or 3 out of the 6 times they did, I do believe they win on Sunday because New England did not play that well. Drake May made an incredible throw to Keyshawn Booty that sealed the game, but the Texans defensive line, they got 5 sacks. I talked about it in our last show. Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson against Will Campbell. It ended up being a major problem for New England that they dodged. And I think that, and
on
I
that
do think,
note,
hold on 1 second. The Patriots this postseason have played the Chargers offensive line banged up, as we know. Watch both their tackles. Texans offensive line, some of the worst tackle situations in the NFL. That's how they've been able to get their pressure. Denver with Bowles, and I forget the name of the right tackle, but they have 2 of the top 10 tackles in the NFL. It's a very different matchup. And if they don't get pressure on Jarrett Stidham and they let him have time, I think New England could be in some trouble. Go ahead. I apologize.
Okay. So think back to week 8. I know the Patriots went on to absolutely destroy the Cleveland Browns. I understand that. Forget the score for a second. How did Myles Garrett do in that game against
the same number that I just mentioned that the Chargers and the Texans both got in the Patriots, 5 sacks.
And Myles Garrett did that single-handedly against the Patriots. And now you have one of the best defensive units coming after Drake May.
And remember earlier in the year when I kept telling you, when you were like, I believe in this Patriots team. I think they are a Super Bowl caliber team. And I think you've been more right on them than I have. Because I said, I don't know. I said, I don't even know if they can beat out Buffalo in the division because I didn't trust the offensive line long term. Because I kept saying, yeah, they're winning games. But Drake May, I remember I kept coming on this show week after week telling you, I think Drake May might end up hurt because he's getting hit almost every play he tries back to pass.
No, you're 100% right. By the way, Stephon Diggs, we talked about how his absence has definitely made an impact in Buffalo. His addition in New England has made a huge difference for Drake May.
Well, we talked about it going into the Texans game. Derek Stingley would mostly take him away, which he did. Booty and Douglas stepped up. Patrick Surtain's going to be on him the whole game. So they got to figure out ways to get Booty and Douglas the ball again. I think Douglas in the slot could have a big game, actually.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I could see this being a lower scoring game, like a 16-13 type of game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like 20-13. Like, I don't know. Denver, I think that they're going to start off fast. If you want to pick a side, I would say either tie or Denver leads at the end of the first quarter. I've already bet Drake May's under for passing yards in the first quarter, which is 52.5. Because I do think New England's going to get off to a slow start. The second half is going to be, I mean, if Rabel and them figure out some scheme to get pressure on Jarrett Stidham, there is a world out there where this does become a rout by the end of the game. You know, New England keeps hammering Denver, pounding away, body blow. And Jarrett Stidham's just bad, and Denver can't move the ball, and New England just gets their turnovers, and they take advantage of it.
I'd like to see Denver really get back to establishing the run game. That's why you brought in RJ Harvey. You've got Jaleel McLaughlin, both in the backfield. If you can really establish that run game, that's going to allow Jarrett Stidham to settle in faster, and you can open up the passing game. I know I've been saying that a lot through these playoffs, and I feel like for the most part, that's been true about whoever has won these games.
I actually disagree with you. First play, if I'm Denver, you may think this is nuts. I'm coming on an empty formation.
Really?
I am getting Jarrett Stidham throwing early so that New England believes he can throw. Because New England's going to stack the box. If they come out under center, I-form, if I'm New England, I'm putting out of the box. I'm saying, go ahead, run the ball. You got to come out and empty so you can get New England to show their hand on defense. Because when you're spread out like that, the defense is hard for them to disguise. They can't really do a lot of tricky things. And get Stidham in rhythm early, maybe even go tempo. He's been in the system for 3 years. Get his rhythm going early and get his confidence going early with short, quick pass completions. And if you go tempo early, you're going to slow down that New England pass rush.
I wonder what type of film the Patriots are watching because they're. I don't think.
I would watch the same film with Bo Nix because I think the offense is going to run exactly the same. I really do. I don't think Payton's going to change anything.
Yeah, but you have to prepare for what type of quarterback Jared Stidham is.
Okay, well, Jared Stidham is Bo Nix without the athleticism. That's what he is.
So Josh McDaniel should know Jared Stidham pretty well because he coached him in Vegas.
Yeah, sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, so I gotta ask you something.
Okay.
We got part 3 on Sunday for the NFC Championship. Rams-Seahawks. The first 2 were absolute classics. Do you think this is
this thing is a timer on it. Hold on 1 second, Josh. I'll fix that.
Okay. But in the meantime,
Go ahead.
Do you remember when we were talking about the national championship back in 2023, we were saying, yeah, Georgia TCU, it says that's the national championship. Excuse me. But fans and media were saying, no, that Georgia-Ohio State game was the real national championship. You remember that conversation?
Yes.
So I'm kind of twisting that here. Do you feel like Rams-Seahawks is the real Super Bowl?
Okay, so now we're going to get into this Rams-Seahawks game. Here's my answer to that. Depends on who wins this game. It depends on who wins the AFC game. Because if Denver makes it out, Lord help us that we would have to watch Jared Stidham in a Super Bowl. Then yes, the winner of Rams-Seahawks will win the Super Bowl. If New England makes it and Seattle wins the game, I think New England has a shot to beat Seattle. I do not think they would have a shot to beat Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Okay, because go back to the 2006 AFC Championship, where you had Patriots Colts. The winner was going to play the Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 41, but you're like, well, whoever wins this game is going to end up winning the Super Bowl because you just felt like that about the Patriots and Colts, rightfully so, because it was Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. There's another connection. But you just felt like those 2 teams were above the rest. It feels, I know it's Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford. I'm not comparing either of them to Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Please don't please don't take it that way.
No, I understand what you're saying. These 2 teams have been the 2 best teams in football all season long, and it does feel like that. I get it. I think New England does match up a little bit with Seattle personnel-wise, and I think that they would have the quarterback advantage in that game, which is why I give New England a chance. I'm going to say this right now. A lot of people are disagreeing with me. A lot of people like Seattle in this spot. I actually love the Rams. I think the Rams are better than Seattle. I actually think they proved they're better than Seattle in that game Thursday night, week 16. They were up 16 with 8 minutes to go. And if Raheem Shaheed does not bring that punt return back and create all sorts of hell, which includes the backwards 2-point conversion play, the Rams win the game. And I know a lot of people have said, oh, well, the Rams have barely beat the Panthers and they barely beat the Bears. I've never seen a team like the Rams, who are a warm weather dome team, go to a frigid place like Chicago, Illinois last Sunday night and have 0 dropped passes and 0 fumbles lost, or, obviously there was the one play Devontae Adams fumble, but he was down, and 0 penalties. That is coaching. And I don't care what you guys say about Sam Darnold. I still don't trust him in this spot. If Sam Darnold goes out and throws for 400 yards and he throws all over this Rams defense and proves me wrong, I'll come on here next Tuesday and say, Mr. Josh Ungar, I was wrong about Sam Darnold. Thank you very much. I think this game is going to be close. I think there's going to be points scored. I think Darnold's going to play well. But if you're telling me between who has the ball last, who do I trust? I think Matthew Stafford engineers another game winning drive. I think the Rams win the game. I think they know they can go into Seattle and win. And I think they're starting to feel it the way they felt it when they went to Tampa Bay in the divisional round the year they won the Super Bowl, put off that incredible comeback after Tom Brady led the Buccaneers down the field, and the Rams had led almost the entire game. The Rams went on to win the Super Bowl. I do feel like history may be repeating itself.
You know, like as much as I strongly dislike the LA Rams because of their owner Stan Kroenke screwing over the city of St. Louis, I that's something I will never like loosen my grudge on. But I will tell you this: I love Matt Stafford. Puka has quickly become one of my favorite wide receivers. You know how I feel about Aaron Donald when he was there. Sean McVay has completely proven me wrong. I was like, okay, you're a good head coach. You kind of looked your way into winning a Super Bowl. No, he has completely turned my
I'll agree with that.
opinion about him around. If he is able to engineer the Rams to a second Super Bowl championship in 5 years, you know what? I will give Sean McVay his full credit. Think about this though. You brought up Sam Darnold. He could he could be the first quarterback from that 2018 quarterback draft class that we all said was going to be amazing. You know, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar, Darnold. We thought Josh Rosen was going to be something at the time.
Well, don't say we because I didn't. I thought he was going to be a massive bust from the start. Don't include me in that.
I was just saying we as a general statement. I'm not
Okay.
specifically. I'm saying I'm not specifically including you, but anyway, Sam Darnold could be the first quarterback from that group to reach a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it feels wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you know, for him to go from what you remember that Monday night game against the Patriots where he's like, I was seeing ghosts, to be in this position.
Well,
Think
and
about the narrative and how that would change for him.
this is why I know you guys all want to give credit to JSN being the number one receiver and Mike McDonald's such a great head coach. Look what he's done with his defense. And Sam Darnold's playing so well. And Raheem G's been a great addition. You know what?
Rashid Shaheed.
You know what the best addition of the entire Seahawks whole offseason was? Quinn Kubiak as offensive coordinator. That's what changed the most about this team. It wasn't Darnold because Geno Smith and Darnold are very similar quarterbacks. They completely changed the scheme. And Quinn Kubiak, in my mind, should be getting more head coaching opportunities because he, along with Kevin O'Connell and Kyle Shanahan, all run that similar system, which clearly at this point Sam Darnold is very comfortable with. And I did not understand why he would want to go to Seattle, but I underestimated the Quinn Kubiak impact. And that to me is the biggest reason why Seattle was playing this Sunday.
What type of impact do you think Zach Charbonnet not being there is going to have on this game for Seattle?
I think it's going to be a moderate impact. I don't think it's something little, but I don't think it's big for the fact they can't win the game without him. But they're going to have to rely on Kenneth Walker more, and Walker's going to have to be able to hit holes more consistently than he has.
The other storyline that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about is the fact that you have Cooper Kupp, who won a Super Bowl with the LA Rams, had that amazing season, and guess what? They said no. The Rams moved on from him, and now he's playing great in Seattle.
Well, I wouldn't say great. He's at a down year. He's at his moments, but he's not the same receiver he was with the Rams. Why they moved off him, and I would argue rightfully so because Devontae Adams has been more impactful than Cooper Kupp was the last few seasons. Plus, okay. I would argue this too, Josh. It wasn't necessarily Cooper Kupp. It was the Cooper Kupp Puka Nacua scheme fit. They both are similar players, slot receivers, blockers. They're not the down the field threat that is Devontae Adams, which is what made the Rams so deadly. Is now you have a receiver that you can play at the edge position in Devontae Adams, and you can leave Puka more in that slot position, which what
I'm
they've
not
done.
Well, I'm not saying the Rams made the wrong decision necessarily by moving on from Cooper Cup. By the way, Ernest Jones has made a huge difference for Seattle defensively, and he's a former Ram.
Yep.
So you have all of these connections. But just to finish my Cooper Cup point, sure, he hasn't been great statistically for Seattle this season. I agree with you. But I think he's had a big influence on JSN just in terms of the receiver JSN has become this season. I think you have to give Cooper Cup credit for why we're talking about JSN as, a great wide receiver. The Seahawks' number one.
Well, again, the funny thing is, right, he only had 2 catches last week because they didn't really need him because that game was over by the opening kickoff.
No, yeah. And when I'm talking about Cooper Cup's impact, I'm talking about off the field stuff.
No, I know, but I was talking more about JSN. They didn't really need him last week. Now
No.
it's going to be a different game.
No, I agree. And also Rashid Shaheed. I told you that was one of the biggest moves of the trade deadline. And it has panned out that way. I don't think Seattle would have won that Week 16 game against the Rams.
Which is my point, that the Rams are just better. I mean, I believe that in my heart. The Rams are better than Seattle.
Which, did Seattle kind of luck their way into that Week 16 win to a certain extent? Yes.
I'm not saying that it's going to be a blowout like this, but it reminds me of last year's NFC Championship game where the Commanders walked into that win Week 16 against the Eagles at home, and then my team went out and obliterated them in the NFC Championship game.
No, I understand that, but these first 2 games, they've been so evenly matched, and it's come down to 1 or 2 plays.
Well, the first game, the Rams dominated them, and they didn't have to do anything on offense, and then Seattle had a big fourth quarter.
I just feel like these 2 teams have clearly separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Again, that's why I put up this question, because to circle back to my original point, we were all like, okay, Georgia's playing TCU in the national championship, whatever. Most fans and media members alike were saying, no, that Georgia-Ohio State game was the actual national championship.
Okay, so I have Patriots-Rams in the Super Bowl. What is your Super Bowl matchup?
I have Patriots-Seahawks. And that leads me to this next one, which it may have a timer on it. Hopefully it doesn't. But how would you feel about Super Bowl 60 being a rematch? Because Patriots-Rams, that would be the 3rd time we've seen it, with the Patriots winning the first 2. If we get Seahawks-Patriots, that would be part 2. Of course, we know how the first one ended. And if we get Seahawks-Broncos, that would also be a rematch. The only way we can get a fresh matchup that we have not seen is if it is Broncos-Rams.
Okay, I'm going to answer this way. The best Super Bowl matchup out of all 4 possibilities is clearly, far and away, in my opinion, Patriots-Rams. The 2 Super Bowl MVP, or the 2 MVP candidates, the quarterback Drake May and Matthew Stafford. New England, I hate to say it, Denver, I'm sorry, no disrespect. New England is clearly the best team left in the AFC, even if Denver does win. So while you felt that Buffalo was better than Denver, but Denver won, I feel like New England's better than Denver. Denver may win. If it is Denver-Seattle, my hype level for the Super Bowl will be at about a -5. I do not want to watch Sam Darnold versus Jarrett Stidham. I just don't. Okay? I don't care how many people love Sam Darnold. I still don't think Sam Darnold's elite. I will never think Sam Darnold's elite. I will always think.
By the way, I've never said once Sam Darnold is elite.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying people that are going to put Sam Darnold in as this great quarterback that turned his career around. No, he's done good. He's played well. He's not special. He's not in the tier of Allen. He's not in the tier of Lamar. He's not in the tier of Herbert. He's not in the tier of Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Mahomes, etc. I don't even think he's in Drake May or Matthew Stafford's class. So you know how I feel about football. I think ultimately football is a quarterback's game, and I really don't want to watch Seattle and Denver. Out of all of the rematches, to be honest with you, I really don't care for any of them because I thought this was supposed to be the year where it's a different year, right? It's a defensive year in the NFL. We have different teams that we didn't expect, like the Broncos and the Patriots being in it. But we had the Texans, we had the Jags, we had the Bears, we had the Bills trying to get there. Like, I wanted a fresh after we dealt with the Chiefs for 5 out of 6 years. And, we've had Chiefs Eagles or Chiefs Niners 4 years in a row, basically. I wanted something fresh. And a Super Bowl rematch, especially one that I've seen, even if it's different teams 7, 8 years ago, still doesn't feel fresh to me. So I don't know. At this point, I'm like, who cares? I'll watch the Super Bowl, but none of them really, really excite me.
Okay. Um, well, if we do get Seahawks Broncos, that would be a rematch 13 years in the making. So it's not like we just saw it.
But it does feel like it because I remember that game vividly because of how much of a blowout it was.
No, I understand. And if we do get Patriots Rams, that's actually the game I want the least because it was so boring last time. 13-3. You just kept sitting there waiting for something to happen.
That's how I feel about Broncos Seahawks.
And rightfully so. By the way, you were mentioning how like you wouldn't put Sam Darnold in a tier with Matt Stafford or Drake May. You wouldn't and you wouldn't put Sam Darnold in a tier with Joe Burrow or Lamar or Patrick Mahomes. If Bo Nix had been able to stay healthy and he went on to win a Super Bowl, I actually would have put I wouldn't have put Bo Nix in a tier with Josh Allen, Lamar, and Joe Burrow yet. I would have put him on the same tier as like a Matt Stafford.
I mean, it's fair. The way I look at it is weirdly and oddly, after we all hated the Patriots dynasty, most of America outside of Colorado was rooting for them this weekend.
Yes. By the way, I think I read this stat. Did you know this is the 15th straight year where the AFC Championship is going to include either the Patriots or the Chiefs?
I mean, that makes sense. Brady and Mahomes. That's why I keep saying it's a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah. And we were all like, oh, thank God the Chiefs dynasty is over. And the Patriots are like, well, where did that bring you?
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, the last one I think that didn't include either of those would have been 2010, the Mark Sanchez Jets against Ben Roethlisberger Steelers.
I think you're right. And the only one prior to that I can think of is
The
2000,
previous year, 2009, was Sanchez against Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and 2008, Flacco against Roethlisberger.
The AFC has, I believe, included one of Brady, Mahomes, Roethlisberger, or Manning every year, except for this year, since 2001.
Yeah, like it's the AFC. It feels like the NFC has been way more wide open, honestly.
Well, now I think it's starting to become because of all the young quarterbacks that have entered the NFC. I think the NFC at the top has became the better conference.
Oh, I would agree with you. So, but in terms of the rematches, you know, I guess the most interesting one would be Patriots Rams to see if the Rams can finally get on the board. And like you said, it's the two MVP candidates. I think Matt Stafford would have more on the line in that matchup.
Oh, 100%.
Yes, because, most people have Matt Stafford as the front runner for the MVP. If he goes on to win it, I'm not going to argue and and say, no, that's the wrong decision. Drake May should have won it. No. Personally, if I had a vote, I would vote for Drake May, but that's nothing against Matt Stafford.
Well, here's the problem about the Patriots. If they don't win the Super Bowl, you know what people are going to say? They have the easiest path to a Super Bowl in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like if the Patriots win a Super Bowl, they're going to compare it to what the Boston Celtics had to do in 2024? When they
they won. But no, when you win a Super Bowl, nobody takes anything away from you. When you don't win a Super Bowl, that's when people start questioning your resume.
Okay, but I'm saying on the Celtics' way to winning a championship, they were like, okay, but did you really play anyone?
But nobody says that about the Super Bowl because you have to be a good team to make the Super Bowl. We've seen not great seeds in the NBA make the finals before. We've seen the 04 Pistons. Nobody gave them a shot against the Lakers, and they won the title.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, generally, you need to be a good team to make it there.
Yeah, but it's like we've seen matchups in the Super Bowl where you're like, how did that team reach the Super Bowl? Like the two good examples. Granted, they're the same team, but still, the 07 Giants and the 2011 Giants. I don't recall anybody saying, oh, the Giants can make a Super Bowl run.
But guess what? They won both those games, and nobody takes it away from them. If they didn't, then they would talk about those runs. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to the Patriots.
I'm not trying to discredit what the Giants did by making it
Well, you just kind of did.
Okay, fair. Do you understand the premise of what I'm trying to get at that?
The premise of what I'm telling you is they have to win the Super Bowl.
Yes. And the Patriots, there's always going to be some type of controversy surrounding them. Although I haven't heard any type of cheating scandal with them.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like Stephon Diggs and Christian Barmore should be in jail to me.
Okay, but I'm talking about like when we had Spygate going on or Deflategate.
Well, no, because Mike Vrabel's smarter than Bill Belichick.
Fair.